This session provides a brief overview of how some organizations have used the strategy model for clearly communicating strategic intent and priorities. A good example comes from the Sun Life Financial's Information Technology Group, typical IT group where there is less than a 10% understanding of strategic intent at the beginning of the program. They developed a strategy map, and on the map you can see the standard elements of the objective description, its weightings, and of course its overall title, as well as the common perspectives of financial, customers, internal, learning, and growth. Now, this strategy model was produced on a 8.5 by 11 laminated card that was available to all employees, and we saw on over 90% of the cubicles it was posted up. In fact, they even created a card game where the objective areas were blank, and as new employees joined the organization, they went through in groups of 15 playing a card game that helped them reveal which these objectives were, why they're important, how they link together, and what the individual's role was towards the contribution of those objectives. Another example is AstraZeneca, where they had done the standard wallet size reviews of their core values and mission and vision. And again, less than 20% acceptance and understanding of the strategy. Their first approach was to make the card bigger, hoping that would help people understand it. But eventually they moved towards using a strategy model to communicate their strategic intent. In this case, we've got the strategy map on the left with the objectives, weightings, and their descriptions, as well as their annual indicator that they're using for overall performance reporting. In this particular case, the strategy model itself had some objectives which were their annual key initiatives, and on the back of the card, those initiatives had their own strategy map. So we used the same strategy deployment framework for the key initiatives inside the organization as the overall organization. And of course, they still had their mission, vision, core values, and so on. An employee survey indicated a greater than 75% understanding of the strategy after this work was completed. They've continued to evolve the strategy map and how they portray it. In this case, the second year in, they changed the layout of the strategy map, but again, had the weightings, the objectives, descriptions, and so forth. This is another example that Cognos developed, communicating their strategic objectives. In their case, they didn't put the weightings on the individual objectives, but they did make it clear what their overall weighting was. And again, in this example, this is a very innovative and development-focused organization. So over 70% of their strategy is focused around building value as opposed to customer and financial, the consuming value perspectives. Other organizations have taken the strategy map and used that as a tool to get people's acceptance and sign-on. In fact, Protective Life began developing a series of large poster boards with either the corporate level strategy map or even departmental strategy maps, and the employees were encouraged to sign the overall strategy map, or in some cases sign the specific objectives where they thought they had the highest contribution. Across the organization, there are over 50 of these boards which were akin to the 50 different departments, which allowed everyone to not only clearly understand the strategy, but it was readily available. To learn more about these concepts, please join us at pm2consulting.com.